Hey everyone, it is me, Ivonne Emil Elizondo from Silver Moon Astrology and Transpersonal Counseling, also known as Silver Moon Counseling, and I'm here. We have a full moon in Aries on Sunday, October the 9th at 3:56 p.m. Central Standard Time. So I want to share the chart. I want to share, what this full moon can entail and maybe some ways we can use it for, development, for spirituality, and maybe some ways that we can help mitigate this energy, because this is a fully packed fire full moon. Okay, so as usual, let me show you the chart. And we do have a lot going on with this moon. It does kick off some energy stuff that will, transition into November. But here we have the full moon. Okay, it is in Aries, and it's very closely conjunct with Chiron retrograde. I do want to talk about that because I think this is definitely the bigger influence for this full moon. Here we have the Sun and Venus, both in Libra. They're pretty conjunct. So this energy is going to play as one. But the other things that are going on right now is Pluto is stationed right now. It literally looks like it's stopped in the sky. Pluto, the transformer, the underworld, Hades, the planet of destruction, and then you have to rebuild after the destruction. It stops, so it's very strong right now. I have a bone to pick with Pluto. It's created havoc in my life the last 5 months. It's created havoc in a lot of people's lives that I know, my clients' lives. So it is turning direct in Capricorn, yay, here within the next couple of days. So that's always great. The other aspects that we do that we are going to feel until the later parts of October is the Saturn retrograde in Aquarius, and it is still squaring Uranus retrograde in Taurus. However, this is the last pass between these two planets, the planet of constriction, restriction, status quo, and versus the planet of liberation, Uranus, freedom, right? So there's this power structure that has been happening throughout the year about, freedom, status quo, freedom, status quo, freedom, status quo. That is coming to, I don't want to say it's coming to an end, but the energy is going to start to dissipate here towards the end, starting towards the end of October. The other placement that we do have is this Neptune retrograde, and it is squaring Mars in Gemini. Mars is going to transition into its retrograde. And so it's like action, fire versus fog. Oh boy. Yeah, we got a lot going on. And the other piece that's involved is this Mercury in Virgo. Virgo owns Mercury. Mercury owns Virgo. And it is opposite of Jupiter retrograde, which loves to make things so much bigger, the mind so much bigger. All right, so a lot of dramatization. But we also have this beautiful placement between Saturn retrograde and the Sun and Venus, which makes me feel that there is going to be more stability, more responsibility, grounded energy. And it is also trining Mars, so this action piece. So as you see, there's a lot going on. But what I would like to do is give you an idea, if I could stop sharing here, give you an idea of what this full moon can entail. So we have this Aries full moon. I'm going to start off by reminding us that the full moon is a time of, light. It's a time of really great self-reflection, because the moon is in its full glory. It's bright, it's lit. You can see the way, as opposed to the dark moon or the new moon where we don't have light. The full moon is a great time to do some magical work, witchy work, energy work. It's a great time to see those intentions that you set at the beginning of the lunar month to now really, use that force and that energy and just send them out into the universe. It's a great time to do a lot of self-reflection, because the moon is available to us, clarity. So if you're looking for decision-making, this would be a great time to do that as well, because we do have the availability to see in the dark, which is what the full moon, the gift of the full moon, and the gift of the full moon, every full moon. Okay, now Aries, here is where I struggle a little bit with this full moon, because it is in the fiery sign of Aries. Now, Aries is great for motivation, passion, and just kind of ignites things, right? But moon is emotions, okay? And in Aries, there's the impulse of wanting to use that fire energy just to, go, just kind of like a rocket. It takes off and then what, right? Just kind of goes on its own. So for me, the full moon in Aries is one that we need to be very cautious with, because it can very easily get out of control. The fire can very easily get out of control. The agitation, the inflammation can very easily get out of control, especially with all of the energy that's going on with this moon. Now, sometimes we can use this energy as, for passion and motivation and just getting things started. And that's great, but I'm still going to caution you, you want to be very careful, with the intention setting for this, or for the intention release for this full moon. Now, the Aries component, okay, it is about the self. Okay, it's not in a partnership. It is about the self. So this full moon is going to be about those more, fiery, spicy types of self perspectives. All right. So how you deal with those is going to be completely up to you. However, I did mention that Chiron is in the mix, and this is the part that I really do want to focus on, because this makes me feel like this is going to be, okay, the opportunity for a either healing kind of moon, or we're going to create a wound kind of moon. So Chiron in the chart represents the wounded healer, and it is retrograde. Again, retrograde doesn't function all that great, but Chiron in the chart is the wounded healer. And in mythology, he was the one that, gave, helped humanity and was essentially punished for it. And he was, chained to a post, and every day the birds would come and, pick at his liver, and then the wound would heal. And the next day the birds would come and pick at the liver, and the wound would heal. And so there's this constant focus on the wound itself and healing the wound, the wound and healing, the wound and healing, the wound and healing. So in Aries, it is about the self. Okay, what wound is it that you're kind of running up against, okay, that just kind of come back to every time that you need to heal? It could be relationships. It could be, how you function in relationships. It could be finances. It could be your career, but it is about the self, right? So it's primarily dealing with you. Okay. Now, how you interact within your environment and with other people, that is going to significantly give us an idea of how that wound is kind of festering. So for this full moon, it would be amazing to do healing work, okay? Any sort of energy work, any sort of, self-reflection, journaling, okay? What area in your life are you having that wound that just kind of keeps coming back over and over and over again? And let's release that, that energy. Maybe you need some insight on the full moon. Maybe you need some insight on how to address this, wound differently. It also makes me feel like, as much as we want to heal the wound, it could also create a wound, again, because Aries is about fire, and it's about separation, and it's about impulsivity. So be very careful not to create a wound, okay, during this full moon. So it could kind of go either way, especially with all of that other energy that we're dealing with. Now, Mercury, okay, is in Virgo, and it does really well in Virgo. And so there may be, the impulse is the word I'm looking for, impulse to really get into the weeds when it comes to, who hurt me, and how do I heal this wound, and why did this happen? And because Mercury naturally likes to go down that rabbit hole in Virgo, it likes to examine, it likes to research, but be cautious not to go so deep into the details that you cannot get yourself out, because Mercury is opposite of Jupiter retrograde in Aries. Again, we have another fire energy, right? And it can make things very, very big. Jupiter is about making things big, but when it's retrograde, it can make things overly big, overly dramatic. So this full moon, be cautious, okay, about possibly making things, just kind of go way, 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 way big. A wonderful practice for this time around would be to honor the element of fire, but it has to be in a controlled manner. Like, it has to be in a controlled manner. So the intention is, if you're going to light your candle and you're going to do, your release work during this time, you do want to honor the fire, not fight the fire, not force the fire, but honor the fire, and then have a bowl of water ready in case the fire kind of gets out of control, so you can just kind of put it out. But you may feel more irritated. You may feel more inflamed during this full moon. You may feel more energized. You may feel more impulsive during this time. So be very cautious, okay, not to be so in the self that you forget about other people, because that's Aries energy as well. Sometimes they're very much in, a lot of times they're in themselves, because that's what Aries represents, is the self. So be aware of that as well. All right, everyone, if you want to learn more about, your astrology and see exactly where this fits in, this hits my 12th house of psychology, my psychological state. So good luck. I may need some support here during this weekend. I'm just letting you know. Okay. All right. If you want to learn more, you can find me at silvermooncounseling.org. That is silvermooncounseling.org. And everybody have a safe, very well controlled, and intentional Aries full moon. Take care. Blessed be.